Boker Tov, we're starting the third Perek of Sefer Yona. We're about halfway through. Vahi devar Hashem el Yona shenit lemor. And behold, the words of Hashem to Yona for a second time, saying. So the second time is because it's a second commandment to now go to Ninveh and tell them to do teshuvah. Also, the Midrash says the second time, and there's no third time. Meaning there's no other third time that he mentions. So this was, Yona did teshuvah, etc. But this was his story, and there was no more after this, as far as nevuah. We'll see what the Gaon Vilna has to say on this at the end. Pasuk Bet. Kum lechel Ninveh ha'ir ha'gedolah. Go, get up and go to Ninveh, the big city. So just an interesting thing I just thought of right now, that you're going to see in a moment, that every time it mentions Ninveh, it says the big city. We'll see what that means. I don't know what that means exactly, but also the Mefarshim say, here when it says, Kum lech el Ninveh, Yona, now he got spit out, he's on the land. He didn't go straight to Ninveh. He waited again for Hashem's commandment. So Hashem tells him, and then Kum, Ukra eleha, and go call out to them, Et hakeriah asher anochi dover elecha, the calling that I'm going to tell you. So here, Rashi says, this is similar to what HaKadosh Baruch Hu told Avraham Avinu. Lech lecha, go. Where am I going? Just go. So he wanted to give him reward on every step that he left, going in Hashem's ways, even if he doesn't know where he's going. So too, go and call out to them the words that I'm going to tell you. Now he's going with a half mission. He doesn't know. So he goes in order to give him reward on everything and every single step and every single dibur that Hashem has with him. That is Pasuk Bet. Pasuk Gimel. Vayakom Yona vayelech el Ninveh kidvar Hashem. Yona got up and he went to Ninveh like Hashem said. V'Ninveh haita ir gedola lelokim. Ninveh was a very big city to God. Mahalach sheloshet yamin. So, what does this mean, a big city to God? So, some Mefarshim explain as follows, that a big city to God, meaning Hashem is requesting that they do teshuvah. He sees the potential, they were going, he sees that they're good people and they could be good people, and he wants them to be alive. So it's a big city in God's eyes, so to speak. Another explanation is interesting as far as grammatically. The Radak says, anytime that you want to stress something, how big it is or how mighty it is, add Hashem to it, meaning this is such a big city, like for God, and it gets so big. He gives examples, as we say, Keharerekel, right? The mountains of God. What do you mean? Meaning they're so big. Or Esh Shalevet Ka Yureh, right? Fire that burns for Hashem. What is Hashem doing in there? It's just a very big fire, right? So this, anytime you add Yud and Hey, Hashem's name, or Aleph and Lamed, or Elokim, it just shows the grandeur of it, how big it was. And the Pasuk says here that Mahalach Shaloshet Yamim. The city was so big, if you want to walk from one side of it to the other side of it would take 3 days for you to walk from one side of Nineveh to the other side of Nineveh. So that is also physically how big it was. The Ibn Ezra here, Rabbi Avraham Ibn Ezra, brings an interesting thing. He says, Amar Rabbi Yeshua. There was a rabbi named Rabbi Yeshua, and he says, like follows, Ki halchu anshe sefina Nineveh, the people that were on the boat, they also went to Nineveh, ve'gidu devar Yona al kene eminu. He says that the people from the boat also went to Ninveh and told the people of Ninveh the story. And when Yonah came, they said, oh, this is the guy, and he's alive. And that made the people of Ninveh believe this person Yonah. Because Yonah just comes out of the blue, by the way, guys, God's going to destroy you if you... Who are you? The people of the boat, they came and they told the story of Yonah. And they said that Hashem was upset at him because he didn't come to you with this. The whole storm was because he went in there, and then he saw that he got saved. So he imparted the people. That's what Ibn Ezra says. The people of the boat imparted the who Yonah was to Ninveh, and that's how they believed them. In Pasuk Dalet for today, Vayachel Yona lavo ba'ir. Yona started in coming into the city, Mahalach Yom Echad, a distance of 1 day into the city. Vayikra vayomar. He called out and he said, Od arba'im yom v'ninveh pachet. Another 40 days, Ninveh is going to turn over. And from the word of like Sedom. So Yonah walked in a day's distance. And the Malbim explains that he didn't start picketing or screaming the moment he walked into Ninveh. He walked in a day's distance, because if he says in 40 days it's going to be destroyed, so there might be a miscalculation here. And the people at the third day that hear it are going to think 40 days from then. People at the beginning are going to think 40 days from then. So what did he do? He walked in a day, and then on day 2, which is the middle of the 3, he started saying it, so there shouldn't be a miscalculation. It should all be on the same day. So he made this announcement that in 40 days, and the Mitzvah David says, Ne'epachet like Sedom, it's going to be turned over. And this was his announcement. So those are we'll do 4 Pesukim for today, and the Gaon Vilna on this explains as follows. The story of Yonah is like the Neshama, so he calls him a second time, and this is the concept of a Gilgul. And so we go up to Shamayim, and then Hashem says, no, you got to go back a second time in order to mitaken. Also, he says here that Ninveh was so big, like 3 days. He says that there's 3 special days in the year. So he said, number 1 on 3 is that if we 3 is a chazakah. If you learn Gemara, when you do something 3 times, it sticks. It's like that's who you are. So if we distance ourselves, if a person distances himself 3 days from Hashem, that's very bad. So a person should never. I know there's someone that I was once speaking to, telling him to come to Minyan. What do you know? So he told me once. He said, and not from here. So he said to me, I once learned that you don't want to ever distance yourself 3 days from it. I never go 3 days without going to Minyan. At least one in those 3 days. That's what he said. It's an interesting thing. So the Gaon Vilna says this: you want to make sure never to stay put off on vacation, don't do anything for 3 days. It's very bad. He says also 3 days is special 3 days, that if a person disconnects from those 3 days, that's really bad, which he says is Rosh Chodesh Elul, Rosh Hashanah, and Yom Kippur. Rosh Hashanah is 2 days, but it's like two for one. So if a person distances himself and he adds Rosh Chodesh Elul, those 3 days, it's very bad. And then Yonah went on 1 day, and he said, in 40 days, it's going to be destroyed. What day was that 1 day? He said that was Rosh Chodesh Elul. And he said, on 40 days, it's going to be destroyed. That was Yom Kippur. So he came on Rosh Chodesh Elul and started making the announcement. And he says, Yom Kippur, it's going to be destroyed. At the end of the story, we're going to see they did Teshuvah, and then the Yom Kippur became a day from destruction to a day of Teshuvah. And that's our day. That's one of the reasons why we read this on Yom Kippur, that it shouldn't be a day of destruction, it should be a day of Teshuvah. So that's that for today. We're going to continue along in this unbelievable story to hopefully me'orer us more and more in Teshuvah. Baruch Adonai Le'olam, Amen ve'Amen. Rabbi Chananya ben Akasha אומר, זכת ברוך הוא לזכות, את יסלפיך חברת המתון עשו שנאמר, אדוני חפץ זמן צדקו, הגדיל תורה וידיר.